Good morning to all VVAT students. As part of Basic Electrical and Electronics Engineering subject, I am going to discuss about DC motors. In the topic, the working principle of DC motor and significance of back EMF. Today we are going to discuss about these two topics. So as part of DC generator, already we have discussed as the principle of DC generator and different types of DC generators and how much EMF which is produced, and according to that what are the applications of DC generators. As part of DC motor, so basically what is the function of DC motor? So it is an electric motor is a machine which converts electrical input energy into mechanical output energy. So according to that Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field. So here the magnetic field that is used as a media between the two magnetic field poles. So that is nothing but one form of energy. If you want to convert from one form of energy into another form, so there is a media which is used as magnetic field, and we can go for electric field also, but we have more advantages in magnetic field. So when that type of magnetic field, a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a mechanical force, and whose direction is given by Fleming's left hand rule. So as part of the generator principle, we are using Fleming's right hand rule. So here the magnetic force which is experienced by the conductor is calculated by using F is equal to BIL sin theta. So this is the equation we are going to use it for calculating the how much force which is induced in the conductor. So that is BIL sin theta. Here F is called force in Newton and B is the maximum flux density in Weber per meter square, and I is the current in amperes, and L is the length of the conductor in meters. And next here another sine theta is there. What is this theta? So from this figure especially, so which is showing the conductor position. So here we are placing this conductor in between the magnetic field poles. So that is the north and south field poles, and when you are placing these two poles, there will be some magnetic field which is produced, and this is the direction from north to south which I have shown in this diagram. So how you are placing this conductor, so how which is lying between with the magnetic field, that is the angle position which is the representation of the theta. So if theta is equal to, that is the angle between position of conductor and direction of magnetic field, when theta is equal to 0 degrees. So if the conductor is placed 0 degrees with the magnetic field, so that is nothing but almost both are in parallel, so there is no angle, that is theta. So therefore no force produced on the conductor, and we can say that that is almost zero force. But when the angle rotor position, that is conductor position, is changing to 45 degrees, let us take example. So there will be sine 45, there will be some value, and therefore there will be some force which is produced. And similarly when theta is increasing to 90 degrees, when it is rotating the conductor with 90 degrees, definitely there will be sine 90, and it will be maximum value of the force which is going to be produced. And similarly we can calculate for other values of the theta also up to 360 degrees, and we can calculate how much force which is produced on the conductor. And here what are the different parts of the motor? So as part of the generator what we have discussed, there is no constructional difference between the generator and motor. So same construction whatever we have discussed in the generator, the same parts we are going to use it as in the machine, that is motor also. But there is a basic principle change, and there is a basic function which is changing when compared to the motor with the generator. So as we have discussed in generator, so we have taken whatever the mechanical input and we are going to convert into electrical output. But in case of motor, we are going to give electrical input and we are going to get the mechanical output, that is the mechanical quantity, that is the output quantity we are going to achieving. So here there are two important parts as in the case of generator and motor. So this is the north and south poles which are shown here. These are representing stator parts. So these are stator. So that is nothing but there is no moving, so that is called stator part is steady state part. So and here one more part which I have shown here, this is the armature part, so that is the rotor part here which I am shown. So this is the armature which is called rotor part. So that is the rotational part, that is the rotational part we are going to representing. So these are the stator and rotor parts as same as in case of motor also. So this armature is a rotating part which is in between. There is a armature we are going to make in the form of, so here we are going to place the armature conductors. So when this current carrying, so we are going to give supply to the input to the DC motor, definitely that is current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. It experiences a force on this conductor and it will tries to rotate the rotor here. So basically here the magnetic field which is produced by north and south poles. So here which I have shown some two different notations as in the armature conductor. So there is a dot portion and this is the portion which is representing so cross mark. Here what it is representing, dot and cross. Here dot is nothing but, so let the current in the armature current be outward, so that is under the influence of north poles which is shown in the figure, and the direction of another south pole, under the influence of the south pole there will be cross mark which is shown on the conductor, so that is the inward force. So there is nothing but here due to the north pole there will be some upward force, and due to the south pole under influence of the south pole there will be some inward force. So therefore the magnetic field which is lying so in this position when it is operating, so that is nothing but maximum force which is under the north pole there will be some upward, and there will be due to the south pole there will be the inward force. So therefore there will be motion on this conductor and this will tries to rotate the rotor. So that's what the motor which is operating. And here one more thing, so we have to find out the direction of the force on each conductor can be determined by using Fleming's left hand rule. So but as part of the DC generator we are using for finding this force that is determined by using Fleming's right hand rule, whatever the induced EMF. So here what it is representing, Fleming's left hand rule. So we have to take the left hand of the thumb, first finger and second finger. So these all the three fingers will be kept at perpendicular to each other, So the thumb indicates the direction of the force or motion of the conductor, and the first finger which shows the magnetic field direction, and the second finger which shows the current, so which is shown exactly here, the thumb of the whatever the left hand thumb rule which is shown here in this figure. And next, what is the back EMF? So here as in the part of the generator we have shown EG, that is generated EMF, but why you are calling as back EMF in case of motor. So as soon as the armature starts rotating, dynamically induced EMF is produced in the armature conductors. So whenever we are changing the supply voltage side, definitely there will be induced EMF. How much induced EMF which is produced on this machine, which is also changing. So that is the direction of induced EMF is found by Fleming's left hand rule, which is direct opposition to the supply voltage. So definitely whatever the supply input voltage we have given to this machine, exactly which is almost to in opposition. So that is what we have shown in the equivalent circuit representation of the DC shunt motor, for example. So this is the DC shunt motor equivalent circuit. So if you have represented here DC shunt motor equivalent circuit, so whatever the input supply voltage which is in inward direction and how much EMF which is produced, that is the back EMF we are calling, that is in the upward direction. So there is nothing but here we can show it as these both directions will be in opposition to both each other. So that's what we can call it as EB. That is what we are calling as in case of motor, which is called counter EMF or back EMF we can call it as. So this EMF is referred as one of the back EMF or counter EMF we can call it as in case of motor. So these both are in opposing nature. So that's why we can call it as how much EMF which is produced in case of motor, that is back EMF or counter EMF. And what is the expression of this back EMF? Similarly, what we derived in case of DC generator, EG is equal to phi Zn by 60 into P by A volts. So the same value of the phi Zn by 60 into P by A, that is also which is similar to the back EMF value as in the case of motor also. And therefore there is no change in the value. So but only theoretically we are calling their generated EMF as in case of motor due to the nature of the supply voltage and whatever the back EMF which is produced in the motor, both are in opposing nature. So that's what we are calling as back EMF or counter EMF, and that value which is given by the similar value of EG, that is phi Zn by 60 into P by A volts. Already we know that phi is the flux per pole in Webers and Z is the total number of conductors and N is the speed of the rotor and P is the total number of poles and A is the number of parallel paths. As we know already, number of parallel paths, there are two types of armature windings. One is lap winding and the other one is called wave winding. And in case of lap winding, number of parallel paths is always equal to A is equal to P. And in wave winding, number of parallel paths always equal to 2 irrespective of number of the poles. These are the things already we have discussed in case of generator, and we have solved some problems also. And the next part which I am shown the equivalent circuit of the DC shunt motor here. So shunt motor, shunt generator how we represented previously, and same case here we are representing as shunt motor. So this is the total equivalent circuit representation of the DC shunt motor. So here DC shunt motor, so that is nothing but here in case of motor we are going to give electrical input, so that is V into IL. So that is the V here, the supply voltage, and this is the value of IL. V into IL, that is given as input to the motor. So this is what we have represented, V, and here IL. So this is the IL part. And this IL load current is going to become dividing into two parts. One is IA and the other one is ISH, that is the shunt field current and armature current. So this is the shunt field winding and this is the armature winding, and this is the input supply voltage is inward and EB is upward direction. So both should be in opposing nature. That's what we can call it as counter EMF or back EMF. So when you are apply this KVL and this circuit, so we are going to get, that is the voltage equation of the corresponding DC shunt generator. V is equal to EB plus IA RA. So here V is equal to EB plus IA RA. So this is the IA RA which is representing there is a voltage drop here due to the armature resistance of the winding. So there is a drop due to the armature resistance. So that is equal to V is equal EB plus IA RA, or we can write it as same equation in other way. IA is equal to V minus EB divided by RA also from the above equation. So this is the working principle of DC shunt motor, whatever the DC motor working principle, and we have seen DC shunt motor, and from that what is the voltage equation and what is the significance of back EMF as in case of DC motors.